Peace, y'all. Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to another episode of What is the Love Above? Today's episode is episode 6, and I will be covering Supafly Returns from side B of The Love Above. So in this episode, I'm going to do things in reverse. I'm going to start off with the verse and then go into the history of the song. All the cars push to start, talking to the plug about how we could really take it far. Light is sparking in between discussions, brightens up the dark. Homie talking all about the place to making Shalimar. If I go, need the chicken biryani by the card. About to order silk from Indonesia, need 100 yards. Then call up my tailor, tell him better be at work tomorrow. So much clientele, my pockets swollen like a boiled scar. Busting out the scene and sceneries you never seen before. Whoa, I meant to say before, Black Wizard Dumbledore, dropping all this magic off the wand into an open shore, praying that the product makes it to the people after tour. Tapping into minds by design, opens different doors, different states, different stores, different babes, need some more. I'm talking to the homies like, y'all ever seen this ish before? Not from where we from, but where we going, off of the allure. Then I flip it, slow it down. I'm letting the instrumental talk to him at this point. Then I get in my Primo bag, DJ Premier / like Alchemist / like Hit Boy. I just start playing with the beat. Return of the Don Dada, the top shotter, shot caller, knock you out your shoes partner. Everybody think they Debo to the cloud spot ya. Heavy stepper couldn't fill my shoes with 2 Tonkas. The truck's loaded, we all glowing. Whole lot of cream cause the IPA's floating. Whole lot of green cause the OG potent. AI about to rule the world, you better stay focused. Eyes on the prize, cause the price of fame ain't worth the price that I'd ever pay for my freedom or my mind. Makes a lot of sense when you looking at the times. Lines filled with magazines and clips from these rhymes. And originally, when I made that song, I was gonna have it be the intro to the whole album. So like, it was called Soul Glow when I first started the beat, and when I started chopping it, I felt like Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You know, Soul Glow. When you, if you are familiar with that movie and the premise behind it, Bruce Leroy reaches enlightenment during his final fight, and that glow it emits from his aura. It's like a golden glow. And he's in supreme confidence and can just destroy anything. And he catches a bullet with his teeth. Like, this man is cold-blooded. So imagine Bruce Leroy combined with Supafly, which is a movie from 1972, Black exploitation movie. And it also is has a score that I really love from Curtis Mayfield. So check out Supafly. Check out the movie, check out the soundtrack. It's incredible. There's so many amazing songs on there. And yeah, man, when it came to making the beat, which the sample itself, I'll display right here. So that sample, when I first found it, I made that song 4 years ago. I want to say it was about 4 years ago. And yeah, I first started chopping it up, and then I added the layers to it. I have all of the sessions in Band Lab, which is the app that I use to make the whole entire structure of the song. And so, man, when it came time to rap, I knew I would have the introduction portion be a little bit slower because it feels like an intro. It's very grandiose. It's very bright, especially with that chorus in the beginning where it's just like, start over again. It felt like you're it's like the opening credits to a movie. And so that when that beat drops and it's like just picture the most super fly brother you ever could imagine, and you know, a top like a coat like this, you know, turtleneck, all white, everything fresh, a cold hat, like I'm talking smooth, big brim, like a zoot suit kind of style, you know what I'm saying? But it's fresh and it's fitted and it's clean and it's tailored. And that introduction is them walking down the street in Harlem, and everybody's just looking because they know that's the man, you know, he the man. So I'm portraying that in this song, and basically like the little backstory now, right? So my mother and my father had me, and basically I was born in Brooklyn but raised in Harlem. So from birth to about age 4 or 5, we lived in Harlem off of 141st between Edgecombe and St. Nicholas, right at the bottom of Sugar Hill. So basically, Edgecombe at one point in time was called Sugar Hill. If you're familiar, do your research. If you're not, but that block and that whole area is historic for so many reasons. And so growing up, even though I was a baby, I still have like the essence of Harlem embedded in my character. And when we left New York, I was 5. So my mom and my pop split up. We left New York. We went down to Louisville, Kentucky, lived with my grandma, my great grandma, and then eventually my mom got her own crib, and she worked 2 jobs to provide for her and myself. We would take the bus to go. She would drop me off at school, then she would go to work because her job was like a few blocks away. And she was a hustler, yo. My mom was super sharp. She's still sharp, but she was super sharp back then. So imagine a woman with a Harlem swag and style from the 90s going to Louisville, Kentucky, and then coming there fresh press. She always used to go back to New York just to get her hair done, because as New Yorkers, we're steppers, yo. Like no matter where we go, we gonna step, and we gonna step in a way you ain't seen before. So I'm illustrating that in Supafly Returns in terms of like, I'm talking to my tailor. You know what I mean? Most people don't even get their suits tailored no more unless they really about that life. And I'm basically illustrating like all the plans that I'm getting everything prepared for. I'm getting my merch designed. I'm getting everything crafted from another place. About to order silk from Indonesia, need 100 yards. Then call up my tailor, tell him better be at work tomorrow. So much clientele, my pockets swollen like a boiled scar. Busting out the scene and sceneries you never seen before. Whoops, I meant to say before. Black Wizard Dumbledore, dropping all this magic off the wand into an open shore. So I like to illustrate scenes in my lyrics and create a visual perspective of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and who I'm talking to and what's going on. Because with music, like paintings, it's in layers, right? So for me, from the production to the lyrics, they're all layers and they're all telling a story. Similar to one of my favorite illustrators and authors, and he had an incredible series, Bob Ross. Bob Ross used to have this show where he literally would just start off this painting with something simple, whether it be some clouds or whether it be some forest or whether it be ocean, and it would be little strokes. And as he would paint, he would always illustrate the strokes and how he put them together. And it would look like, at first, like, whoa, that's going to turn into a tree. That's going to turn into a waterfall. Like, how? But it always worked. Shout out to Bob Ross. Rest in peace, brother. But yeah, man, I like to illustrate my lyrics and my songs like a painter illustrates their, what they're going to do with their canvas before they do it. And then it plays out in reality. So I went on a tangent but in all, like that's all what Supafly encompasses. It's basically, if you could imagine me in the 70s and what I would look like if I'm doing this in 2025, just imagine in the 70s when everybody, especially in Harlem, during the Harlem Renaissance era, when Black businesses and Black business owners was at its highest, because after a little bit of historical context. So Google the Harlem Renaissance, first and foremost. This was one of the most beautiful time periods in Harlem history before crack got introduced into the community, which destroyed the structure of the household. A lot of people went to jail. A lot of people turned into addicts. And, Harlem systematically was destroyed. And then there were also other things that occurred that I'm not going to get into on this episode. But Google the Harlem Renaissance. Being that I have history from living in Harlem and going back to see my dad during the winters, like winter school let out, in summer, I would basically go back and forth. So I would fly as an unaccompanied minor from Louisville, Kentucky to New York by myself, and would travel to airports, and then typically I would stay there for a period of time and then come back home. So I was born in 1992. So imagine in the mid 90s to early 2000s going to New York and experiencing Dipset, experiencing Rough Riders, experiencing like everybody that was on in the 90s, going to New York and then hearing certain songs from the South get played up there, but not a lot. So I got dual exposure. I got the exposure of Dipset and I got the exposure of Lil Jon and the East Side Boys and crunk music. You know what I'm saying? Ludacris, and who could you compare in terms of like spitters? But all in all, like, just imagine that from the 90s to the early 2000s, going back and forth. So I got to experience slabs and lowriders and tailgating and, what I'm saying, Paul Wall and Jim. Yo, having a playlist and like CDs, like I had the CD book and I would make like literal mixes on Windows Media Player from songs that I downloaded from LimeWire. Rest in peace to those hard drives. But yeah, man, I would get all this music from the East Coast. And then I would come back down south, have all the music from the South. And so I had the best of both worlds. And I'm so grateful to be able to channel that into my music today, because I have a rich history when it comes to sound, when it comes to the people that I'm connected to, the family members that I got to grow up with. And also just another fun fact. So I'm half West Indian. My father's from Antigua. My grandmother from his side is from, it's called Dominica. So it's like a very, very small island. And so basically I'm like part French, part West Indian. And then on my mom's side, the lineage is like super vast. It's like I got cousins everywhere. But yeah, so it's half West Indian. I feel like Black is such a very basic, it's a basic, like, there's so many layers to being Black and being African American, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, bro, like, we God's children. So you can classify me or label me based off of how you see me, but there's so many layers to my DNA that you can't just say I'm one thing or you're one thing. There's so many layers to this essence that you're seeing and hearing. But I say all that to say, imagine my West Indian family is in the East Coast for the most part. So, oh man, I'm just thinking about it now, like getting exposed to West Indian food and then coming back down south and then getting exposed to, don't get me wrong, candy yams is universal, but it's different. Like the South, the way we make cornbread down here versus the East Coast is like, it's different. We got buns more so in the East Coast. And when I went to Antigua as a child, my dad took me and my brother and I think one of my cousins was there, and we went to Antigua, and that's where I learned how to swim. I was probably like 9 or 10 years old. And so in Antigua, fun fact, there are 365 beaches. You can go to a different beach every day of the year. And it's one of the most beautiful islands I've ever seen in my life. They have mango trees outside in the front yard, chickens just walking around. My grandma had this big pot, and she would make it she would cook food in the backyard. That was the first time I got to experience third world culture where like there was no hot water in the shower. It was just, you take a cold water shower, you get in, you get out, you know what I'm saying? Mosquito nets all throughout the crib, but you still getting bit up. It was crazy. And I can't wait to go back there at some point in time. Shout out to my cousin Yubani. He's out there right now doing incredible work, a graphic designer. Just recently got married, and I absolutely have to go visit there very soon. But yeah, that is Supafly Returns. I named it that simply because in the movie Supafly, this is a dude from the streets that is trying to basically break away from the streets, go legit, sail off in the sunset, and he has to be a double agent and kind of like work alongside the streets, but then like alongside the feds, but then he ends up basically like pitting the feds against the feds. It's crazy, yo. Like the way they portrayed that movie. And then there was a remake not too long ago that came out a couple of years ago. It was pretty good. I didn't mind it. I actually enjoyed that movie, but you got to watch the original, man, because there's a scene in there where Curtis Mayfield is singing, "I'm your mama, I'm your daddy, I'm the in the alley." And to see him performing in real time, and then it's like he did the soundtrack for the movie. It's like a full circle spectrum that I think any filmmaker or artist that likes film soundtracks should check out. I don't want to make these episodes too long because I can clearly talk for quite some time, but I did want to give more context and more understanding to how Supafly Returns was created, to the structure of the song, to the history behind me as an artist and a writer. I'm grateful for all of you for checking this out. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you for your feedback. C-Dub, Courtney, my brother, thank you so much, man. Yo, we talk about this stuff at work just in terms of like, from film to songs to artists to history. And I'm glad that I could connect with a brother like yourself. Also shout outs to my homie Black Queen for just being who you are and being a very, very incredible motivator. There's so many people I've met in Dallas that come from different walks of life, but for whatever reason, we connect with each other because we see each other. And I think that comes from something deeply embedded in your soul. Like when you see somebody that has a similar essence to you, even though they're from a different place, you might not be so different from each other once y'all have a conversation and just talk. So I say all that to say, thank you again. Thank y'all for y'all support. If you like the episode, make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe up top, click that bell if you want to get notified in the future for future updates and uploads. And this is The Love Above. Or what is The Love Above? I'm your host, Nymbus. Follow me on IG, NYMBUS__. And stay tapped in, man. We going up. Peace. I love that beat.